pasó? ¿Se frizó? Mm, Am I frozen? I don't think I'm frozen.
I think Lizette may be frozen while sharing.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can hear you guys. I see everything moving here except for the
okay.
video.
All right.
Well,
Maybe that's what it is then. Okay. Reset. We got stuck on number 6. So that means I have to tell you 6 reasons why we are using the hero and the heroine's journey for your spiritual advancement. Lord have mercy. Okay. All right. We're gonna make do. Can we make do? I think we can make do. Let me see.
you're our co-host, Monica. Maybe you can stop the participant sharing.
Oh, okay. I think I can. Yes. There we go. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. We did it. We did it. And I think she got disconnected for some reason. Let me fix this. Let me fix my hair. Okay. So we are talking today about the hero's journey and how that is an accelerant for your spiritual journey. What does that mean exactly? Put a 1 in the chat if you have heard of the hero's journey. And a 1-1 if you have heard of the heroine's journey as well. You've heard of hero and heroine, put a 1-1. If you've only heard of hero, put a 1. And so Joseph Campbell was a mythologist, an American mythologist who studied Carl Jung and the like, and other psychotherapists and cis-het white male fathers of psychology. And he came up with this idea of the man with 1,000 faces. And he came up with the idea of the hero's journey. And if you look at any kind of literary work, whether it be in multimedia, such as a movie or in a play or a book, etc., typically the main character goes through certain phases of challenge and triumph and doubt and overcoming. And I want to see if I have a visual for you that I can show you what those hero journey phases, as it were, are about. Right? So when we first look at a hero's journey, I thought I had it in my computer, but I'm going to look it up online. When you first see a hero's journey graphic, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, then you can see that it's a common structure for stories that the hero goes on an adventure, overcomes a crisis, returns home changed. It kind of combines myth and biography. And Joseph Campbell, as I told you, is an American mythologist who wrote a book called The Hero's Journey that was first published, I believe, in the 80s, if not in the 90s. All right, so let me show you this thing. Let me show you this graphic that I have here. It comes from the University of Southern California, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, tell me when you can see this. You can see it?
Got it.
Awesome. So the hero goes on this adventure, as it were. Let me make this smaller so it fits the whole screen. And then meets a mentor. A little bit like Wolverine. I'm going to use one of the Marvel Comics stories. Wolverine is just minding his business. He's in the mountains. He's just cutting wood and living a peaceful life. And then here comes Professor X and says, we need you. We need you to help us save the world. And at first, the hero is like, nah, I don't want to. That's where we get the reluctant Messiah idea from. And he gets a valid reason, he gets a compelling reason to cross that threshold. So it's not so much about getting the gang back together. There's something bigger at stake. When he says we need you, the world is, at stake. That's a big enough reason for him to cross that threshold. And so once he crosses that threshold, that starts his descent from the top of the mountain where he's just kind of chilling and relaxing, and now going into the depths of trials and tribulations. And in those trials and tribulations, he meets enemies, yes, and adversaries, yes, but also helpers and the people along the way that support and move his journey along. There comes a point where it's right smack at the bottom of the journey where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if he's gonna make it. And I'm gonna switch stories now. I'm gonna with Wolverine, it was like the time when we thought he was gonna die, when we thought like, oh, his powers are gone, the claws are gone, he's not the same guy anymore. He's not equipped for the job. The same thing happened with Neo in The Matrix, where Agent Smith was just kicking his butt, and we thought, oh my God, he disabled Morpheus. Trinity can't get to him, and now it's just Neo, and he can't handle this. He's gonna die. This is bad. That's the death and rebirth section of this journey. But if you know anything about journeys, that's not where it's over, right? And there's always a time when you think he even killed the enemy, but then the enemy comes back stronger, right? And the fight is not over. That's all part of that death and rebirth process. So as a result of that triumph of overcoming that death and rebirth process, there comes this revelation, there comes this awakening, or a higher knowledge, deeper wisdom, this at-one-ment. I know the word in the screen says atonement. I pronounce it at-one-ment, because it is his opportunity to become at one with his greater vision, with his greater purpose, with his greater divinity, etc. When he understands that union, he gets back to his old world, returned, yes, but different, changed, revolutionized, alchemized, right? And so when Joseph Campbell was giving stories about and explaining this framework, people were asking him, what about the heroine's journey? Is the heroine's journey the same? And his answer is no. His answer was that the heroine's journey is different, because the heroine's journey isn't about beating a enemy that is on the outside of the feminine. The heroine's journey is more about beating the secrets and the shadows inside. I'm trying to find a graphic for you on that as well. And if we notice in the hero's journey, there is a love interest. There's a woman, there's a feminine aspect that he either wants to protect, defend, or is interested in being with. That's part of the at-one-ment too, and the guy gets the girl sort of thing. But when the feminine in the heroine's journey, it's not so much a pursuit or a union with the masculine, so much as it is internal integration. So I found a graphic that I can share with you on that. So in the heroine's journey, the separation is from the feminine, from a safe space, from the place of your own identity and you being in your own safety, the heroine's safety. And then there's the identification with the masculine and the gathering of allies. So she pursues a career, or she goes on a quest, or she, I remember a movie in the 90s where Demi Moore played this sole female soldier. So she had to go into training with the other soldiers who were all men, right? And there's a road of trials and tribulations. Again, similarities, meeting ogres and dragons and challenges and bullies, etc. And at some point, there's a place of, instead of this death and rebirth of, there's an adversary that's beating my butt, there's more like this spiritual aridity. There's the lack of purpose. There's this like, what am I even doing here type of deal. And there's a descent into the goddess. I can get more and more into the mythology of this, but suffice it to say, put this in the notes, Persephone. Put that word in your notes, Persephone. That is a Greek goddess that goes into the depths. And her purpose is to give rise from the darkness into the light. Now, the urgent yearning to reconnect with the feminine has the heroine's journey now heal the mother-daughter split heal the wounded masculine and then integrate the masculine and the feminine. This is all an internal process, but it sometimes is shown in the characteristics or in the movement of the plot, right? And so it's again with Demi Moore, she played a very like ruthless corporate shill in one of those movies with Michael Douglas, I believe it was. I'm telling my age because these movies are all from the 90s. But she was like this corporate shill, and she's like, I don't care, and competition and win at all costs, and uber capitalist, etc. Use her feminine guiles not in honor of the feminine, but to get what she wants, right? To be manipulative, etc. And so when she goes into the depths and the initiation and descent into the goddess, she has to confront the ways in which she has been a manipulator, the ways in which this game is not set up for the people who are winning to win, never mind the people who are not designed to win, right? And so how do you now use the heroine's journey and the hero's journey to your spiritual advancement? To your spiritual advancement. So I want you to think of yourself. I'm going to give you 2 tracks. You as the hero. And if you're any kind of teacher, student, coach, consultant, etc., in your line of work, your clients are your hero, the hero and the heroine of the story. And you, in their story, might be a mentor or a helper. And if you're not careful, maybe one of those ogres and dragons. That's another sermon for another Sunday. But let's go through those 2 tracks. If in your track of you being the hero and the heroine, identify what phase of this journey you are in. Because maybe you are you've met your mentor, and now you're like in the middle of the trials and tribulations. You're facing some failures, and you're gonna have to develop some new skills. You have to chisel your character, perhaps deepen your patience, or strengthen your resolve to get through whatever it is that you're going through. Maybe you're over here in this part of the journey, and you haven't quite met the deep death and rebirth transformation. Or maybe you have, and they've just been kind of like versions of it, not the actual big kit and caboodle one, right? Or perhaps you're in a revelation and in the change aspect of it. You're in this ascension aspect where you're coming up again. And these aren't like, you don't have a grand one, right? We need a grand one in a movie so that we can have a plot and a beginning, a middle, and an end. But in a human being's life, we typically have many adventures, many deaths and rebirths, many atonements, many returns, etc. And this happens whether it's in the department of your family, in the department of your relationships, the department of your fitness, the department of your career, etc. It may be compartmentalized, or it may be spiral. You went through something in your 20s that's very different than what you went through in your 30s or 40s or 50s or whatever. So I don't want you to be reductive about this, but I want you to think about where are you now and what's most important to you and what's most present for you in your life. And based on the hero's journey chart, whether it's the hero's journey from a masculine perspective or the heroine's journey from the Maureen Murdoch book of the same name, the heroine's journey, whether you are in a place of maybe spiritual aridity, which is fear, that death, and you're going to have to confront the divinity inside of yourself. The heroine's journey, I love talking about it because it's really about beating yourself, confronting the worst of you, the shadow of you. We all have to do that at some point or another. And so it's not a mutually exclusive thing. Women go through the hero's journey just as much as men go through the heroine's journey. There are some times the monsters are inside, the shadows, the limiting beliefs, the self-doubt, the bad past experiences. Those are all memories on the inside. And we all at some point or another have to confront that and beat that. That's an internal process. I'm going to stop sharing now because I want to open the floor up for discussion. And I would love to hear from all of you. Oh, yes. Thank you, Michelle. Demi Moore is Navy SEAL and G.I. Jane. Exactly. I want to hear from all of you where you are in your hero or heroine's journey. And when you are in I'm going to say this caveat before I go to raised hands. I'm going to say this caveat. When you are in a position of power, you probably have heard the phrase, with much power comes much responsibility. When you are in a position of power, you don't get to say that there is any circumstance out there that is preventing you from having your wish as your command. Let me say that again. In your master state, in your integrated state, in your my wish is my command state, I'm quoting Florence here, we rescind the privilege and the right to say, so-and-so's fault, so-and-so's problem, so-and-so's circumstance, this and that, inconvenience, et cetera, et cetera. It's all mastery. It's all, 100% responsible 100% of the time, in the sense that you don't necessarily have 100% control of creating circumstances, but you do have 100% control of how you experience them. That is up to you. What you say about it in your relationship to it is up to you, right? And so you can tell whether somebody is in their mastery by how they speak about external circumstances. If they speak about external circumstances as though they are bigger than they are, then they're not in their mastery. Because if a circumstance is bigger than your command or your will, then that's the boss, not you. That's the master, not you, right? And so you want to think about how you express yourself. Just observe yourself on a day-to-day basis when you say something like, oh, this is happening and therefore I can't, I won't, I shouldn't, I blah, blah, blah. That is not coming from a place of creation. That's coming from a place of reaction. Yeah. Florence, you're up. You have your hand up. Thank you so much for joining us.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising.
Oh, hello.
Hi, good to see you, Doc. Wow, all I can say is wow, because this state, there's this song, a change is gonna come or whatever. It's been a long time coming. Well, I'm 67
Hallelujah.
and pardon?
I said hallelujah.
Yes. And all I can say is a change has come.
Oh, okay.
And I am in that no limits power state.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am cognizant that, when a queen or king mounts the throne, I'm talking just in everyday life, they have to have counselors. One of the greatest things they need to do is remain humble. And I am cognizant of that and keeping my ear and my, everything open to the guidance, the counselors, that, oh, you're not perfect in everything, or, you don't know it all or whatever.
Right.
But I am in the state of no limits, no excuses. I am in the power. And it's absolutely mind-blowing, awesome. It's bliss. It's like, oh, I didn't know I would, like, my 17-year-old self had no idea that I would get here.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's been quite a road in the making. I love it. Thank you so much for that.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Who else is up?
Thank you for this conversation.
You're welcome. Who else has something to share? Where are you in your journey, and where would you like to be? Rose, is that your hand up literally?
Okay. I can't find Ray's hand on the bottom of my screen. I don't know why. Every now and then it disappears. But anyway. Okay, so can you put up the graphic of the hero's journey? Do you mind?
Yes, let's
pull that up. So it's so interesting how things come together. But anyway, so I participate in landmark education courses, and so in some of the courses we're talking about things like like issue-free living.
Mm-hmm.
And the requirement that, not the requirement, but the opportunity that there is to say something new. Like, like instead of going to the default, wow, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
And so, I've been sitting with this thought for about, I don't know, it's probably a couple of years now. And I haven't done anything with it, but it's occurred to me to write an article called No New Sky. No same sky. Sorry. No same sky. Like the sky is brand new every morning and has been from the beginning of time, right? There's never been the same sky over the world twice.
Okay.
And so the possibility of brand new dawns every single day in no same sky.
Yeah, new day, new moment, new possibility, new creation window. Yes.
And that's what we wake up into every morning. But we don't be with that as we live through our day. Most time, I mean, I don't. I'll speak for myself.
Sure.
Right? I don't necessarily get with that first thing every morning to say, oh, don't forget, it's a new day and you can completely recreate something for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inside of the possibility that the day has given you.
Yes.
That's the first gift of every morning. So I think I'm somewhere around death, rebirth, and revelation.
Yeah, I love it because it's an opportunity for you to leave behind what doesn't work and own up to and step into what's left and the possibility of a new creation. I love that.
Yes, but like in the pit of my being, not like a good idea.
Right. Yes. 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 Because to your point, a lot of times folks see these kinds of things and it's like, it is a good idea. And they can see how it translates to movies, to books, to story plot lines and so forth. But it takes a certain level of practicality and self-awareness to be able to see where we can apply it ourselves and where we can live into it ourselves. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Who else has something? Who else has something that they want to share? Where are you? Where would you like to be? So I have a little bit of homework for you in this regard. And that is to spend some time with yourself. It doesn't have to be long. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And if you are a practiced journaler, this would be a good time to write these things in your journal. Some of you are multimedia journalers and you don't do writing necessarily, but maybe you'll do a voice memo to yourself. And so spend some time speaking to the higher self of you that has lived through every phase, who holds the keys to the wisdom of your life. The one that has the answers in the back of the book. You probably have seen commercials where there's like the CGI AI version of LeBron James and he's like 14 or whatever. And then there's like present day LeBron James. And the younger one asks him, did we ever make it into the NBA? Did we do this? Did we do that? Right? And LeBron, the current one says, yeah, we made it and we did this and we did that, right? So this current version has this awareness of the possibilities of your life and what you can become. And so ask that version of you those questions. Sometimes we look for our wisdom in sacred texts or in trusted confidants or in comparisonitis with other people. And we think we should be in a certain place because that's where our peers are, etc. But I want you to check in with your inner wise counselor and ask her or him the question of, what did we do in this situation? How did we win here? What did we learn here, right? And so you kind of like learning, looking in the back of the book. Dominique from YouTube says, just a side awareness, are we the age or the vessel? Hence, who is the one having the hero or the fool's journey, the vessel or the thoughts of the living being? And what is the opposite of the hero's journey? The opposite path is commonly known as the Grail path, or the path of the Queen or the Virgin's path. These are all great questions, Dominic, sorry. And like I said, we don't have enough time in this little 30-minute situation to go into the mythology and the mysticism of it all. But I will address this particular piece. You asked, who's the one that's having the hero, the fool's journey? Are you the vessel or the living being? And I'm going to posit and challenge all of us to operate as though you are the living being that's using this vessel called your life, called your biography, called your body, called your circumstances in order to move through to a particular destination. Your life is the vessel. You are the living being living that, living into that, right? Not like it's the cosmic truth with a capital T, but like it's a position to stand where you can have access to the deepest wisdom and the greatest power. And then the second thing that I'm going to say is that many people have tried to do the hero and queen's path as though they are directly opposite each other. They're not opposite each other in as much as your left arm is not opposite your right arm. They're just different aspects of the same union. And just as the hero's journey looks without for an adversary to beat, for a circumstance to best, the queen's or the virgin's path or the heroine's journey looks within for the shadow to overcome, for the limiting beliefs or the negative beliefs to integrate and to connect with. And we are always doing both of those journeys at the same time. We are doing the outside walk and the internal walk as well. So thank you everybody for being here. We love you. We appreciate you. We love the discussion. Rose, Sorrel, Ingrid, Cece is here as well. I'm just looking at everybody's names. Remember to love your neighbor, love yourself, give of yourself generously, laugh, and stress less, eat more plant-based foods, get yourself at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Move your tail feather, dance, exercise. Remember that twerking is a kundalini raising exercise. If you don't do it well, practice. And then audit your assumptions. Always check yourself before you wreck yourself. Your assumptions can either be a sticking point or they can be the birth of a new possibility. Love you long time. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent job.